Welcome back to Takacs McGinnis Elder Care Law Hour. I'm Tim Takacs, and in this segment we're going to be talking about clinical trials and healthcare developments.
And I'm Barbara McGinnis, and with us is Randy Bach, who is the clinical director and clinical recruiter of the Clinical Research Associates. Welcome, Randy. It's like, how many times can I say the word clinical in one sentence? Tell us what Clinical Research Associates is and what are you recruiting for?
So we are a company that does the clinical trials. We're usually the last step before a drug becomes approved by the FDA. So when a drug comes to market and they want to see if it's safe and effective, they go through several trials to first test it for safety, then for effectiveness, and then when they want to use it, want to test it on lots and lots of people. There are many corporations across the country that do these clinical trials, where we follow specific protocols and determine whether a medication is effective and safe. So we're just doing the trials with lots and lots of people because you never know how some particular person might work with a medication. So we're doing that under the direction of the drug companies. We're doing a very specific protocol that uses the medication and also sometimes a placebo to determine whether the effect is real.
Right. So I know you're in Nashville, but is your company in Nashville as well?
Yeah. Our company is locally owned, run by a nurse. Okay. And this year we will have been in business 30 years.
Wow.
Right. So what does Randy Bach do at Clinical Research Associates? So
I do some of this outreach, but I also, most of my day, I'm spending talking to people on the phone, trying to convince them that they need to be part of research.
Okay. So like a clinical trial, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
So what is a clinical trial, and why should I be interested?
So a clinical trial is testing of usually a medication or a device, and it is designed to make sure that it's going to work like it's proposed. Most medications that come to trial are not approved because they are not as good as what's out there in the market, or they're just have some kind of a problem. So what I do is I talk to people on the phone all day. I convince people that you need to be part of a clinical trial. We just did one for the anthrax vaccine. So I have to call people up and say, hey, wouldn't you like to try the anthrax vaccine?
I bet that's a hard sell.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really easy for the above 65 crowd, but the younger people were more.
Do you get paid to be part of it?
You do. Some of them are pretty well compensated. They're usually based on how much effort it takes. We have some studies that are as little as one visit in an hour, and some studies that are a year or 2 years long. And depending on what's involved, the number of visits and things like that. And we have many people who participate in studies after studies after studies for years after years. It becomes people's little second hobby.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so you have like your professional clinical trialists or something, and professional guinea pigs or whatever you call them.
Every time we have a different trial, we have different criteria, and some people qualify and some people don't. I know that's frustrating when you want to be in a trial and then you have some kind of health thing that, and we always err on the side of caution. So if you have anything that the drug could interact with that could have a problem, we're not going to let you be part of the trial.
So why would you want to be in a clinical trial? Because it sounds to me like, okay, let's give this person anthrax and this person not, and and then we'll throw some drugs at them and see who it cures.
Well, we never give them the anthrax. It's a vaccine, just like the flu vaccine. But yes, the first thing that the benefit is to everyone in society.
Sure.
We're soon going to be evaluating the effectiveness of the flu shot. You hear every year that the flu shot was some percentage effective. We're one of the companies that determines that. So we're going to be looking for people 65 and above to get paid to be part of the trial, and they get the flu shot, and then we actually monitor if they get the flu during the season. Everyone's pushing flu shots early, but your flu shots are only effective for 4 months, and the peak month for flu is in March. So if you do the math, getting a flu shot in August is probably not your best choice.
Okay, so get one just before Christmas then.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Most likely. Okay.
We're also doing a study for pediatric. We're going to evaluate the pediatric flu, so children 6 months to 4 years. And
What are some of the examples of clinical trials you've done specifically with seniors or older adults?
Sure. We've done several clinical trials for Alzheimer's medications. They are very involving lots and lots of steps and CAT scans and MRIs and all of that. Recently the Alzheimer's trials for medication have 2 of the 4 big ones that are going on right now failed because there were some health effects. You can imagine if it's trying to clear plaque out of your brain and you're trying to get a medication that's strong enough to do that and effective, how that could be problematic. So everyone's kind of shifting their focus for Alzheimer's drugs to more of a prevention world.
Sure.
So how do we, what do we do to help people, to encourage people to exercise and eat right and do all the things your mom told you to do?
Okay, so that sounds like sort of a different type of clinical trial. So you have one group over there that eats all they want and doesn't exercise, and another group over there
that's called general population.
General population.
Oh, okay.
Yes, right. Okay. Yeah, we don't. We sometimes we do smoking studies where people can smoke all they want, or we have smoking cessation studies that have been very effective. I talked to people that were in it 13 years ago and they still don't smoke. So
okay.
Studies are beneficial because you get some additional medical, you get seen by a doctor.
Yeah.
We have an all RN staff, very experienced employees, and so we're actually going to pay attention to one thing that you're concerned about. If you have a chronic illness, you get a lot more attention.
So you said you were, the senior population, you've done Alzheimer's trials. Anything else that you've done involving seniors recently?
We just did the seniors for anthrax. We do lots and lots of trials that involve seniors.
Okay.
Lots of things that are preventative. Soon we're going to have a study that's with a medication that's going to design to keep you to be a preventative for upper respiratory disease.
Oh,
so that's really exciting.
Yes.
So how does somebody find out about the different trials that are going on?
Well, certainly where everyone else goes is to the websites. We have a great website that tells you all the studies that are going on. We have a newsletter that comes out in the mail 3 times a year, and we have almost 40,000 people in our database that get that newsletter. And that's how we keep in touch with people. We're telling them what's coming, what the results are from previous studies, and then most of the people that we have in our studies are from word of mouth. I talked to somebody right now recruiting for some migraine studies, and so everyone seems to know somebody that suffers with migraines, and that's how we find them. Somebody I'll talk to that they'll say, oh, I know somebody else, and I'll have them call you, and that's how we find lots of our people.
Very cool.
So if you want to get involved, do they need to meet certain criteria, or are you?
Every study has specific criteria that you have to be, and we're looking for people that have a particular chronic condition and are basically healthy around that. Another place that everyone can look is the government maintains a website that has every clinical trial in the country that's currently enrolling. It's called clinicaltrials.gov.
Clinicaltrials.gov, okay.
And you can search by geography and then by whatever you're concerned about.
Okay.
So if you're not in Nashville, you can still learn about clinical trials in your area.
Right.
That's cool. So clinicaltrials.gov, and then of course later we'll have your information up so people can see your website. So if you choose to be part of a clinical trial, how's personal privacy protected?
Well, we are governed under the same laws of HIPAA that all medical providers are. We also have some additional securities. Our database is not available on the web. We secure everybody's personal information, and it's never shared with anybody outside of our company.
Okay.
So I've got a question I just thought of is, you're talking a lot about these clinical trials, and I think it's like what, phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3, I think is what so phase 1 is like you test it on animals or something. Correct. And then phase 2 is you start testing it on some humans, and maybe
for safety.
And then phase 3 is like the biggie. If it passes phase 3, then
then it's used on a few hundred people, and then in stage 4 it's used with thousands of people.
Okay. So anything in particular like that Clinical Research Associates where it's actually gone to market?
We just had one that's been very successful. We had a migraine medication called Amvig, and we had people that were 15 or 20 migraines a month who are just about have very, very few migraines now with that medication.
So that's definitely significant.
If people are having a dozen migraines a month and they're having to go to bed for the day, that's debilitating, and now they're getting their lives back.
Right.
So that's one that's been a big success.
You know, and is there, I know you're doing anthrax and you're doing, I guess, another migraine thing. Is that what you're working on?
Right.
Just to kind of go to a next step with the migraines, or? Yeah,
these studies are one dose of a new migraine medication or a new delivery. Like, for instance, one of our studies is a nasal spray for migraines. What a great way to deliver the medication right to your brain.
Yeah.
Another is a fast-acting pill designed to end your migraine within 15 minutes. All very effective, hopefully very effective treatments. They're
Great.
that we're trying to bring to market.
All right, we're going to put your contact information up.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking to Randy Bach from Clinical Research Associates, clinicalresearchassociates.com. That's real easy to remember.
It is.
And you also mentioned clinicaltrials.gov for people who maybe are not in the Nashville area, but maybe could want to look elsewhere for trials.
Sure.
All right, thanks for being here with us.
Okay. Thank you so much.
If you'll stay with us. Next will be Dr. David Hutchings, who is a national specialist in the area of neuropathology and dementia. So stay tuned.